For this evaluation task, I'm going to be discussing what technologies we used in the process of making our music video, the post-production process, so the editing and putting it all together, and the ancillary tasks, which was the digipack and the magazine advert. And I'll also be talking about any other like digital technologies we use, like PowerPoint or Prezi and things like that. Once we'd chosen our song, which in the end we went for Lana Del Rey, Gods and Monsters, because that's the one that we all agreed on, so it was just easy to, you know, go for the majority vote. We came up for a concept for our video, and then once we'd done that, we went and found the people that we wanted to be in the video and the girl, and then we went to location and we started shooting using a video camera, a tripod, a dolly and a torch. We didn't really use the torch because the majority of our locations were outside, so it was all naturally lit, so there wasn't need for the torch, but that was fine with us because that's the look that we wanted to go for, because it was conventional of the indie genre, which is what we wanted to market our video in. So it would like suit it all. The dolly we didn't really use a lot either, and neither with the tripod, because it was very static and we didn't really want that. We wanted something that was quite like dreamy and surreal. Like that's the idea that we wanted to go for the video. So a lot of the shots are handheld, whereas some of them, like in the bathroom and the one where they're walking towards the camera, in the like little wooded area, that's using the tripod, but I think a lot of the others are handheld because it gave a better effect. Once we were happy with the footage and everything, we uploaded it onto the Macs which we were using for this project. We simply just plugged the camera into the back of the Macs and uploaded the footage, like all of the footage we had taken. We then imported it all onto Premiere Pro because we wasn't sure what was useful or not, so it'd be easy to find it, which was simply you just go to File and then scroll down and then go to Import, and then you just find where you saved your footage so you can import it. We saved all of ours into our group folder because it'd be easy for us to find it, and like when we come back to it in future we can just go to our group folder and find it, and it just keeps it organised for us. We had initially we looked through all the footage that we'd taken, like we watched it all, and then deleted the clips which were just like random or like didn't go very well, because obviously you don't want that in your music video. And then we made a basic rough cut edit with all the footage that we wanted, like this, just a sequence. Simply just by cutting and dragging it down onto the little sequence bar at the bottom. After we'd got our rough cut down and we knew the order of the shots that we wanted, and it was all in order and nice and everything, we began editing, like adding effects and stuff, because we wanted a really surreal and a dreamy effect for our video, because it would go for the concept that we came up with and the indie genre. We used a lot of effects that were available on Premiere Pro, which I thought was very useful because before we'd used Final Cut Express and there wasn't, I don't think the effects were as good as the ones which are available on Premiere Pro. One of the main ones we used was brightness and contrast and RGB curves, which we used to create a sort of autumnal look. And it created like this nice browny orange filter that we applied to all of the clips. Well, not all of them, but the majority of them, because without them we felt the footage looked a bit raw, and it also adds this professional feel if it has like a consistent colour theme running throughout, and obviously it matches the indie genre because a lot of indie videos have this sort of orangey warm tones to them, so we wanted to keep up with conventions. So what we did was we, at the bottom left hand corner there's a little tab called Effects, and there's just a search bar, and then we just searched in like brightness and contrast because we already knew that's what we wanted to change, and then we just simply dragged it over onto the clips. and then we turned down the brightness and also increased the contrast, so like it'd bring out the colours and they'd be a lot more rich. So that's what we did to make it a lot more sharper and less raw. And then for the colours, the tones that we wanted, we added the RGB curves onto it by just doing the same thing, like searching RGB curves and then dragging them onto the clips. And then the RGB curves would be like a little curve. So we just like altered them. So we pulled up the little red curve to increase the orange tones, and then pulled down the green and things like that to make a nice orange-red colour that we wanted. To make sure that the colour were the same all through all the clips, and like we didn't have one clip which was really orange and one which wasn't as orange. We just we did all of that to one clip, and then we copied and pasted the effects, which I thought was really useful because you couldn't do that before, I don't think, on Final Cut Express. So this was really easy, and it made sure that the theme was definitely consistent, which obviously makes it more professional. So I was happy that you could do that. Before filming, we looked at indie music videos to get an idea and some inspiration, and we came across one by this indie folk music girl duo called First Aid Kit, and they have a song called Wolf Mother, and they have a lot of kaleidoscope effects in their music video, like this particular music video, and we really liked that because we thought it added a nice surreal dreamy effect, which is what we wanted. So we knew that we wanted this in our video, so when we filmed we took some visual shots, like pouring ink into a glass and filming a close-up of that, which I think looked really good. So when we put that into our sequence, we wanted this kaleidoscope effect onto it, but we searched in the little search bar and there wasn't an already made kaleidoscope effect, so we had to make one. So we applied about 4 to 6 mirrors onto the footage. Like we just searched mirror and then dragged it over 4 times onto the shot that we wanted on, and then we just had to play around with the angles, which took a while, but we eventually found the right angles that created a really good kaleidoscope that worked for us. I think that was the downside to Premiere Pro, that they didn't have an already made kaleidoscope effect, because they did in Final Cut Express, so it would have saved us a lot of time. But saying that, having to make it yourself, it is I don't know, you get a sense of achievement that you've managed to get this really cool effect on your shot by yourself. So yeah, we were happy with that. Because we're making a music video, we obviously need lip syncing in it. So we filmed some performance shots, like just her singing the words, and but obviously we couldn't. Okay, right. Because it's a music video, we filmed some performance shots. So, because obviously in music videos you have the singer singing their song. So we just filmed her lip syncing, and when we came to edit, we had to make sure it was in time to keep that professional look to it. This was quite challenging. We'd practiced beforehand and we found it quite hard, but because she knew the words really well, we found it easier. But what we did, we simply took the performance shots and put them over the backing track, which we had already laid down into the sequence before we even started. And then we simply just we'd pick a word, say gods, and we'd mark it by pressing the M key, and that would put a little green arrow above where we've just marked on the shot, on the footage. And then if we'd do the same, so we'd find the word God in the song and press M above where she says that, and then we could just drag the footage along and level up the 2 marks so they were together. So this would make sure that our song and our footage was in time. And we found this very helpful to do, because I think overall we were very impressed with how in time the lip syncing was, and our feedback said, like, everyone's commented and commented on how good the lip syncing was and how it looked really professional. So I think Premiere Pro is good for that, and it was very useful. Another effect that we used on Premiere Pro a lot was overlays, because based on prior research we found that overlays are featured a lot in indie music videos, and we liked this effect and the look of it, and we wanted to keep within the indie music video conventions, so we wanted to use them. We found doing overlays pretty easy. Like, you just take your original shot and then put the shot that you want to overlay it with on top of it, like on the separate little bar, and then you click the top shot and then click it, and then there should be a little, like, a drop down menu comes up, and they have like different options, and then one of them will say overlay, so we just clicked that. We just clicked overlay, and then we right clicked and decreased or increased the opacity depending on how, like, visible you want that shot. And we used this like the most throughout our, this was the technique we used the most throughout our music video, and we really liked I liked the effect. I thought it was really good, and it was very easy to do, just like really simply overlay them, so I was happy with that, and I would recommend Premiere Pro for that. Two pieces of footage that we altered drastically was one at the beginning where it's a landscape of the sky, and the lyric where this footage is in the song, in the video, is a fiery beacon, and obviously the shot was very blue before, so we wanted to change this, so we did the brightness and contrast, and we increased the contrast, and we added more orangey tones to create like this fiery beacon effect of the sky, which we really liked. And another was one of the ink. Like, we'd poured some ink into it, but we inverted the colours because we felt this added like a really surreal effect. So we just simply right clicked and then inverted the colours. We altered the speeds of some of the shots by clicking on the shot and then going to the menu at the top and clicking the option clip. Then you'd scroll down and there's a section which says speed and duration, and we just click that, and then a box would appear, and then we just, like, the speed would be at 100%, which meant it was like normal speed. So to decrease it, we decreased it to about 50%, and it gave this nice, like, obviously slow effect, but not too slow. And then when we wanted to increase the speed, we just put it to 150 or sometimes 200, depending how, like, dramatic we wanted it. But this is pretty straightforward to do. It was just like simply clicking on the speed duration. It wasn't anything complicated, so we got the hang of this really quickly, and it gave a really effective look, which we were happy with. Once we're happy with our sequence and our final cut, we rendered it by going to the top and clicking on the sequence and then scrolling down to render entire work area. So that rendered. It took a while, depending on how many effects you have and how long it is. Like, it'll take a while. I think ours took about 15 minutes. So once it was rendered, we went to export it. And then we just went on File, scroll down to Export, and then a window will come up giving you, like, setting. The format we chose to QuickTime, and then we just scroll down and there was an option which was YouTube 1080, and we chose that one. because we wanted to put it on YouTube, and then we just clicked export. Once the video was complete, we moved on to the ancillary tasks, which were to create a 6-pane digipack. For this we used Photoshop, and we also used this to create the magazine advert, which we did after we made the digipack. So when it came to making the digipack, we kind of knew already what we wanted it to look like. So we opened up a new project on Photoshop, which was an outlet. There was already a template for the digipack, so that was already on there. The images which we used for our digipack were drawings, which we drew especially for our digipack. So we just scanned them onto the Macs. We scanned them onto the computer, and then imported them to Photoshop, and then messed around with the colours and everything using the box to the right. Using the box to the right, which is just like the toolbox, and to the left, the little tool. We made the colours were originally quite washed out, so we made them more vibrant. We made them more bluey, greeny, browny, sort of earthy tones, which would correspond with the earthy sort of feel we have to the music video. And it's also very conventional of the indie genre. We knew at this point that we wanted to fit more into the subgenre, which is of indie folk, because we were very comfortable with this music genre, and we felt we had really strong ideas which we'd be able to market this song, video and digipack and magazine advert in. So we wanted to go for that. When it came to the front cover, we knew we wanted a circle, because that's very conventional of the indie genre, to have shapes and different patterns in different images. So the background is this drawing that was drew, and then the circle on the front cover is a little close-up taken from a picture of a stained glass window, which fits in with the religious motifs we have running throughout the video and the whole concept of our star now. And, they were originally quite bluey purpley, but we increased the green tones in them, which we liked. We felt it was very fitting of the genre. And the pane which would be behind that was a picture of some feet, which was also taken from a stained glass window, fitting in with the religious motif, because in religion feet are seen as a sign of humility and respect, and when someone says to worship someone, they worship their feet. So it all fits in with this religious idea and symbolism we have running throughout our project. We found Photoshop really useful when creating our digipack. It was quite easy to get the hang of using it, of all the different layers down the side. We knew which bit was which. We made the circle that's on the front of the digipack. We wrote some text over the top, which would be our star's name, which is Freya, and the album name. We merged the text layer and the image layer together, and then once we did that, we took it onto a new Photoshop project where we made our magazine advert, because we knew we wanted the same sort of look for both, because then if someone was to see the magazine advert in a magazine, say The Fly or NME, something like that, they'd be able to find the album easily in store, because we didn't want to have a picture of the digipack on the magazine advert, as we felt this was very mainstream, and we wanted to stay away from this and keep to the arty sort of indie look. So we had the same theme running throughout both projects. So we had the same kind of background, which is on the panes, which we just transferred over, and then this circle that we'd obviously merged together. And we added some tour dates, which was simple enough just by text, a quote, which we just did by entering more text and just moving it to positioning it to the place that we wanted it to be. And we included the record label's logo, where we went to Google, so we used the internet as well, like this digital technology, and we searched for a logo on images, we imported it onto the project, and then it had a white background which we didn't want, so we just got rid of that by the select tool and then just like taking it away, and then position that where we wanted it to be. But yeah, we're very happy with how it turned out, and we felt it looks very professional, and Photoshop helped us a lot to keep this professional feel through both our ancillary tasks, and Premiere Pro helped us with the post-production process, which was really, it was quite manageable. Like, we'd never used it before, but when we came to use it we found it was quite straightforward, and we were very happy with the outcome of that. Alongside Premiere Pro and Photoshop, I also use PowerPoint in this process, which is just Microsoft Office software, to answer another evaluation task and for some blog posts, which was simple. We used a blog where we've posted all of our coursework and all of our tasks and everything, and our inspiration and research. We used WordPress, which I felt was nice and straightforward to use. And I like the idea of having a blog because it's kind of like an ongoing piece of work, and you can make it very visual and not just text-based, and it's like a running portfolio, so I like that. We've also used Prezi. Well, I've used Prezi. I've used Prezi a couple times now to make some different things. I like that because it's like very visual. Like, you can have everything that you want down, so it can still be quite wordy, but you can also make it look very visual and like visually appealing. So I like using Prezi. But yeah, overall I am pretty happy with how everything's turned out, and I felt all the software we used and all the equipment and everything was really useful and helpful in our tasks. I wouldn't really have anything to complain about any of them, and yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out. So yeah, that's my question 4 evaluation task answered.